Oh, welcome in, everybody. Toast. It is Wind Up Wednesday here at FTN. I am your host, Lauren Carpenter. You can find me at Stepmom Lauren, and we have a great show lined up for you today. Again, if you've missed me before, welcome in to the show. This is Wind Up Wednesday. This is when we get wind down to get wound up for some week 3 football. That's right. Can you believe it? We are heading into week 3. But this show today is specific for the first part of it for prize picks. That's right. This is the prize picks prop show for the first part. And then I'm going to start answering some of your week 3 start sits. But before we get into all of that, everybody, let your hair down. I got messy hair. Don't care. That's how this works here on Wind Up Wednesday. We just chill, For some of you, it's 8 p.m.-ish. For others, it's maybe 5 p.m.-ish. I don't know. We're all over the place. Who cares? This is about relaxation. This is about fantasy football. And this is about prize picks. And if you haven't signed up for prize picks, what are you waiting for? Prize picks is one of my favorite places to go for the higher, lower, over, under. It is so much fun and it is so easy to play prize picks. And if you haven't played it yet, it is very simple. It's not just football. There are tons of other sports that they offer. And you don't have to set crazy complicated lineups. You don't have to worry about salary caps. No, all you do is you pick over or under for stats on specific players. So I am here tonight to help you out with some TNF, that is Thursday night football matchups that we have with the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cleveland Brown, an AFC North grudge match for the ages. As someone who is friends with a diehard Steelers fan, this is both love and hate. They're like frenemies, but more on the enemies side. But either way, go ahead and head on over to PrizePicks.com. Use the promo code FTN, just like FTN Fantasy. Use the promo code FTN, and you get your deposit of up to $100 matched. Now, remember, this is your first deposit is up to $100 matched over at PrizePicks.com, promo code FTN. And when you're done making your picks, they don't have to be the same as mine, but when you're done making your picks, head on over to FTNDaily.com. You can enter your picks into our free pick tracker tool. And there's even a free tool that's our Discord chat, a private Prize Picks Discord chat. Just click on that chat bubble that's up at the top and you're in. It's very easy. And we have so much content over on FTN Daily, over on FTN Fantasy, over on FTN Bets. We have so much going on there, and everything just keeps getting better and better. Updates, new and improved stuff, more information. So if you want access to all of that amazing content that, yes, it is behind a paywall for a good reason, because there is hours and hours of blood, sweat, and tears that go into this information. But with my promo code, which was just put up there a second ago, you can use, there it is. Yay. Thank you, Quan. Fox had the audacity to not show up for work today. I'm kidding. This was already scheduled. So Quan is my producer today, and he has to put up with me. I'm pretty sure he may be imbibing just to deal with me for the next 35 to 45 minutes. I'm sorry, Quan, I love you. But if you use my promo code SML, that's Stepmom Lauren, you get 20% off any package over at FTN. Redraft stuff, DFS stuff, you name it. We have so many things over there. So remember, 2 promo codes here for you. For FTNFantasy.com or daily or bets, use the promo code SML like Stepmom Lauren. But for the prize picks, which we're going to go over in just a second, use the promo code FTN to get your first deposit matched up to $100. Remember, free picks tracker tool. Man, it's been a long day. Can you tell? Just for you. And the free Discord. But without further ado, let's go ahead and go right on over to our picks and bets, shall we? And the very first one that I have set up for you is something that is very, very curious. So I just mentioned the promo code SML that gets you 20% off any package over at FTNFantasy.com. One of my absolute favorite tools to use is the splits tool, which you will see right here on your screen. I'm going to move this over just a hair. So this is called the NFL splits tool. And the reason I'm bringing this up for you when I'm talking about our prize picks for our TNF game is because Najee Harris, this is going to be a grudge match. All right. And the lines are very, very tight over on prize picks. So I went ahead and I used this splits tool and I specifically picked out Najee Harris and I looked at his rushing yards and I'm going on the over. And let me tell you why. Let me show you why. Here is a really easy way to use the splits tool. I am going to compare Najee Harris and his production to however and whenever he has played the Cleveland Browns. And let me show you how easy this is. So here's my mouse right over here. Instead of team, we're going to go pick a player. All right. We're going to pick a player, and this player is going to be Najee Harris. Very simple. Then we're going to hit that next button. Now I'm going to compare this to however long he's been in the league. Now this goes to 2019, but let's go ahead and go right on over to 2020. When did he get in the league? Was it 2020 or 2021? I feel like he's been around the league for so long. He's such a big personality. Let's go 2021 up to this year, which we know they haven't played yet. There is a weeks option here too. I'm just going to skip that, but make sure this little toggle button is turned on right here because we're going to talk about last year when they played. So let's go ahead and hit that next button. Now, here's the crucial part right here. If you follow my mouse where these little down arrows are, we're going to go up against teams, okay? So I want to compare Najee Harris, and not against the Arizona Cardinals, but the Cleveland Browns. So let's hit this. Whoa, looky here. This is so neat. All right, everybody. So see where it says in the split and out of the split, okay? So in the split, see that number 2? That means there have been 2 games that Najee Harris has played against the Cleveland Browns, all right? And then over here on the left-hand column, we have rush attempts, rush yards, rushing touchdowns, targets, receptions, receiving yards, blah, blah, blah. It goes all the way down, even down into fantasy scoring. Now look at all this green. See this beautiful green? So what it is comparing is Najee Harris when he doesn't play the Cleveland Browns, as opposed to Najee Harris when he does play the Cleveland Browns, which is super exciting. So his rush attempts go up from 16 rush attempts to 27. His rushing yards, go from 56.78 to 139.5. So Najee Harris does very well against the Cleveland Browns. This is just one example of how you can use the splits tool, how incredibly powerful this is. And not only will this help you with, things like PrizePicks in your over and unders, but this is also going to help you in your redraft. It's going to help you in Dynasty. It's going to help you make those starts sit. It can even help you make waiver wire, picks. If you want to compare one player to, let's say, that matchup, they're only going to stream them from 1 week. Take a look at that player against the team that they're going up against in the following week. This is a really awesome tool to use. I am obsessed. I'm really not going to lie. All right, let's go ahead and throw up the rest of our TNF PrizePicks options that we have for you. I just love this tool so much. It's so exciting. So let me go ahead and bring up, look, here we are, everybody. If you haven't been to PrizePicks.com, remember promo code FTN. Your first deposit up to $100 matched. Here's what I'm doing. I already mentioned Najee Harris. So let me go run on over here. And I'm just going to search his name just to make my life a little bit easier since we talked about it. But check out his rushing yards. I had already said that his rushing yards are over 130 when he plays Cleveland. So at this line at 52.5, for what Najee Harris has been able to do recently, this line seems pretty tight. But for what he is able to do against the Cleveland Browns, this is a smash over for me on Najee Harris. I absolutely love this pick so much. I'm really excited about that. In fact, I'm really excited for this TNF game just altogether. It's gonna be so great. So my next option here, which at first I thought it was gonna be awful, but it's not. It's actually gonna be really good. I'm looking at Jacoby Brissett. I mean, he's right here. Check out this line, 185 and a hook. And again, I'm gonna hit the over when it comes to Jacoby Brissett. Even though I think this is going to be more of a ground game than it is through the air passing, 185.5 is still pretty low. In fact, last week, the Pittsburgh Steelers allowed 252 passing yards to Mac Jones, who doesn't even have an offensive coordinator, really. And I mean, the New England Patriots are doing all right, but come on. Literally over 250 yards. I think that Jacoby Brissett can hit the over on 185.5. In fact, he threw 229 yards last week against the Jets. So going right on over my next option, and up here, just for everybody taking a look, I'm scrolling my mouse around these options. If you see all of these different tabs up here, these are all of the options. Look, they even added punts. Look at that. And tackles plus assists, field goals. I mean, the options that they have here are unbelievable. I am sticking more on the passing, rushing, and receiving yards for this video, but make sure you explore all of these options. So aside from Najee Harris on the over, Jacoby Brissett on the over, we're sticking with this game, everybody. This is TNF PrizePicks. I'm going right on over to my receiving yards, and I'm looking no further than Amari Cooper, and his line is at 51.5. Again, this is pretty average when you look at what Amari Cooper has been able to do so far this season as a Cleveland Brown. But you know what? This game is going to be an over. If I believe in Jacoby Brissett passing for over 185 and a half yards, who is he going to pass it to? It's probably going to be Najee Harris, pardon me. It's going to be Amari Cooper, or it's going to be Kareem Hunt and possibly Donovan Peoples-Jones, but I don't know if I love that as much. But I do love this for Amari Cooper. He has turned 9 receptions into over 100 yards and a touchdown last week against the Jets. I absolutely love that. And the Steelers' defense is ranked 4th worst against wide receivers. They are allowing the 2nd most yards to the position. So for me, this is going to be an over on Amari Cooper. So let me just hit these over here too, so we know what we're talking about. We have 2 more left. Now, as much as I love this, well, love is a strong word. As much as I'm targeting this Browns passing offense, the one that I am not targeting in this matchup is going to be for the Steelers. So I'm going to go ahead right on over to receiving yards for Chase Claypool. Sad, wah, wah. But he is literally the 3rd in the pecking order of this offense behind Deontay Johnson, behind Pat Freiermuth. So this one, I'm going to go under. Now watch him have an absolutely huge game just because that's how the fantasy gods work in this world. But it's tough. It's tough. He has actually yet to complete more than 26 yards this season in a single game. And he's only had 17 yards receiving the last time he played the played the Browns. I promise this is not incredibly alcoholic. It's just been a really long day. Played the Browns. I speak English. Let me try to reiterate that one. He only had 17 receiving yards against the Browns last time they played. So I don't love this one. I don't really like this one at all. So I'm going under on Chase Claypool. I know those are always spicy. It's so fun to try to take the over, but sometimes you need to look at the under. And for my last one, you know what? Yeah, I talked about Kareem Hunt. Spoiler alert, he is next on this, and I'm also going to stick with the receiving yards here, and I'm going to go straight to Kareem Hunt. Check out that number, 15 and a half. Again, Jacoby Brissett is going to need people to receive his passes. It's not just going to be Amari Cooper. David Njoku, I'm really not quite sure what's going on with that guy, but Kareem Hunt, I think, can get it done. And this line at 55 and a hook is pretty good. In fact, he has failed to produce over 17 and a half receiving yards against the Steelers. That's what I meant to say on the first one. He hasn't done it, I think twice. He does very, very well against the Steelers. I really like the over on the receiving yards for Kareem Hunt. So we're going to go right over here and hit the over. So let's just go over that one more time before we go ahead and get into our starts and our sits. We have Najee Harris over 52 and a half. That line is ridiculous, and I love it. We have the over for Jacoby Brissett passing yards. We have the over, and then under. But that wasn't respectively. We have the over on Amari Cooper for his 51 and a half receiving yards. We have the under for Chase Claypool with his 37 and a half receiving yards, which I know seems low, but I don't believe in Chase Claypool. Then we have the over for Kareem Hunt's very measly 15 and a half receiving yards. Man, what a day. What a day. So you know what? I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, everybody, and I'm just going to go ahead and make my bet right now. I'm just going to do a $5 entry on this one. Place entry. Boom. That is how easy it is to do PrizePicks, my friend. In fact, it's kind of hard to get, easier. Does that make sense? It's kind of hard to get easier. That's how I see it anyway. Quan, throw my beautiful, giant, tired head back up on the whole screen. Let's go over our starts and sits here at FTN. And we're heading into week 3, as I mentioned, everybody. We have some interesting starts and sits. Now, my starts of the week are going to seem a little question mark. But hear me out. There are reasonings behind this. And in fact, I've gotten so many questions about these starts and sits from folks that I felt it highly necessary to bring them up now. And let me go through them very quickly here for you. Now, again, this is going to be dependent on your roster, but these are guys who have very good matchups and should be started if you can make room in your roster. First one, Jacoby Myers, wide receiver for the New England Patriots. You guys, the Ravens lead the league in the most receptions, yards, and touchdowns allowed to opposing wide receivers. Kind of hard to believe, but yeah, it's there. It's pretty bad. In fact, you're going to find a trend on terrible defenses against wide receivers because those are the people that I'm targeting that I think that you should be starting. Now, Nelson Aguilar is more of a risky start. He's also a wide receiver for the New England Patriots. He got a real big bump from that gigantic reception that he made, but Jakobi Meyers is a PPR monster, and I absolutely love him in this matchup. He is combined for 13 targets, 150 yards, which is 8.2 and 14 points in PPR, respectively. I really like Jakobi Meyers. I don't think he's going to give you a goose egg, and that's what we want, points. My next starter is going to be Marquise Brown. I know he has been very disappointing. We were all looking for more from him with DeAndre Hopkins out. But I think this is going to be the matchup where Marquise Brown finally steps up to the plate. Now, second worst after the Ravens is, none other. The Rams. Can you believe it? Can you even believe it? But yeah, the Rams have been quite porous to wide receivers, and Marquise Brown may have that opportunity here with Kyler Murray. I don't know what's really going on with Zach Ertz. I don't know what's going on with James Conner. His injury situation is still up in the air. So if it's Darrell Williams, Eno Benjamin, you better believe that Kyler Murray is going to be airing it out. And I think that he's going to be leaning on Marquise Brown. So this should be a good game for him. He's a fantastic flex opportunity. My third, start for week 3 is DK Metcalf. I know Geno Smith is not exactly explosive. He doesn't have the sparkles and the shine, I mean, yes, we wrote him off and he's like, I didn't write back. And that was all very clever. But, it's been kind of meh for DK Metcalf, especially since we know what he's able to do. But the third worst defense facing wide receivers is none other than the Falcons. And that is who the Seattle Seahawks are playing. So I think this is going to be a good game for DK Metcalf. He can get it done both on short and intermediate routes as well as deep routes. It's usually where Tyler Lockett lives, is in those deep passes. But Geno Smith likes to dump the ball off. He likes to find DK Metcalf. And I think this is when he's going to be able to turn those around into monster fantasy points. My next one here is going to be Amari Cooper. I know I just talked about him on the PrizePicks, but Amari Cooper should be in your lineup. Now, public service announcement, everybody, when you are doing your TNF starts, do not put these players in your flex, okay? You might have to if you have more than one from each team, which I don't recommend anyway. Always move any player that is playing in TNF, Thursday Night Football, to their respective positions on your roster. The reason why is, God forbid anything happen to your roster from come here to Sunday, but if you have him used up in your flex, that limits your availability for other players, right? So if you move Amari Cooper out of your flex into your wide receiver spot and something happens to somebody else, you have at least a wide receiver, running back, or a tight end that you can replace that injured player. So public service announcement there. I won't go too crazy against this, but as I mentioned, fourth worst defense is the Steelers against wide receivers. They're missing TJ Watt, you can tell. And I think Amari Cooper is going to exploit that because Jacoby Brissett is going to be targeting him. So Amari Cooper is a start for me this week. Absolutely. Finally, this is risky. My last one is risky, a little controversial, but I'm going to start Darnell Mooney if I can. Now, he's one that I definitely would put into the flex if that is an opportunity for you. They're playing the Texans. They have only allowed 1 touchdown to wide receivers, so that's not great for the upside on the touchdown potential. But there's really 2 options in this receiving core. It's Darnell Mooney or it's Cole Kmet. I mean, that's really the 2 guys that Justin Fields has to go with, and they really need to make up for some lost time in that offense. Even though they've only allowed 1 touchdown, the Texans have allowed the 4th most yards to wide receivers. And Darnell Mooney is a big play, explosive dude. So this just may be the matchup for him. Let's fingers crossed, because I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to help anyone who has Darnell Mooney, because that's just been the reality of it. It stinks. He should be really good, but there's Justin Fields and it's the Bears. And then there was like the biblical deluge week 1. And then there was just a really bad matchup in week 2. So fingers crossed. Let's hope that week 3 is better for Darnell Mooney, but he has the opportunity to exploit that Houston Texans defense in the passing game. So where we have starts, we obviously need to have sits. Let's go ahead and get into our sits. I also have an article written about this as well. You can check that out on my website, stepmomlauren.com. And this is going to be kind of easy for me here. This is Devin Singletary. This is already a running back by committee. It's gross. So not only is Devin Singletary involved in this, we have Zach Moss still like becoming a thing, super annoying. James Cook, super annoying. Josh Allen, super awesome, but super annoying for that entire running back by committee. And Devin Singletary has not been able to produce. He has not been able to capitalize with the volume that he's been given. And plus, the matchup this week is absolutely gross against the Dolphins, who have been shockingly excellent and very stout against running back. So Devin Singletary is a sit for me. You probably drafted him to get in your flex spot, so he's not going to be your RB1 or RB2. If he is, I'm sorry. If he has a really good game sometime soon, you should really think about trading him because that is not going to change. Rashad Penny, another running back by committee, another running back who has failed to produce with massive amounts of volume. Now, Kenneth Walker is healing, not fully healthy, but he is still involved. He's still fantasy annoying as of now. He's about to become very fantasy relevant as things keep going and going. The matchup here also is not great, as I mentioned before, so Penny is an absolute fade. If you give me starts and sit questions, just take Penny right out of it. I mean, unless you're in a super deep league, but no, we're going to sit Penny. Not worth it. He has not been able to produce. In fact, he scored 1.5 fantasy points last week. That's gross. Kenneth Walker got 2.5. Woohoo! So neither of those are super good options, especially this week. I'm going to go and pick on the Jets here for a minute on my next sit. Now, this is specific to Corey Davis, everybody. So I don't necessarily think you have to sit Elijah Moore, and you definitely don't want to sit Garrett Wilson because he and Joe Flacco are besties. He only has eyes for Garrett Wilson, and that I don't mind because that young man is talented. But when it comes to Corey Davis, he is third in the pecking order here. And that's even possibly behind the running backs who are also receiving running backs too. So Corey Davis is going to be a sit for me. I don't like the matchup. Also, Joe Flacco, week one, he kind of showed us that he's vulnerable against difficult defenses and mediocre defenses. So who knows? They may have to pull him from Mike White. Do you trust Corey Davis with Mike White? Maybe a little bit more. What are we going to do with that quarterback situation? I'm definitely starting Garrett Wilson, but I am not going to start Corey Davis if I can help it. Last two here really quick. Brandon Ayuk is a sit for me. This is Jimmy Garoppolo we're talking about. When I talk about Flacco and Garrett Wilson as besties, Jimmy Garoppolo and Deebo Samuel are besties. This is an atrocious matchup. Oh, the Broncos are rough. They're rough against the run, and they're also rough against the pass. And Jimmy Garoppolo isn't exactly a gunslinger. He's going to be looking for Deebo Samuel for help, and I think Brandon Ayuk is going to be the one that, loses out on this. Whether or not George Kittle is or is not on the field, I would try to fade Brandon Ayuk and not start him. I am not a big fan of that one. Last but not least, everybody, it's Carson Wentz, quarterback for the Washington Commanders, playing against his former team in the Philadelphia Eagles. They are playing at home in Washington. I still don't like it. Just not Kirk Cousins, because he and Darius Slay are now besties. Apparently I'm using that a lot in this show. But I think Kirk Cousins' number one target was Darius Slay on Monday Night Football. So Carson Wentz is decent. He did very well against the Lions. If you picked him up off the waiver wire, that's okay. Don't worry about it. But you are not playing him in this matchup. Just don't do it. I understand that it's a revenge. Could this revenge narrative go Carson Wentz's way? Sure, this is fantasy football. But I think that the Eagles are going to be the ones that are proving to Carson Wentz why they heartily moved on to Jalen Hurts without Carson Wentz. So make sure you sit him. But if he does really well, feel free to deal Carson Wentz over in a trade, because then that would be two really good games by Carson Wentz, and you don't want to deal with it anymore. But yeah, for me, Carson Wentz is going to be a bench. My goodness, everybody. That's it. I'm kidding. It's not. We still have so many things we need to get to, specifically your questions. Let me go ahead and pull up some questions that I received from the socials. First of all, thank you everybody so much for handing those over to me so that I can help you with your starts and sits. Remember, you can always find me on social media at Stepmom Lauren. Drop your questions in so that I can answer them live here on the show. And let me go ahead and address Rachel. Tootsie Pop, you're my girl. I heart you. She wants to know, which is a good one because we have a lot of tight end drama heading into week 3. Dawson Knox or Tyler Conklin, full PPR, and I'm going to go Dawson Knox if he's healthy. If he's not, obviously you're going to have to go with Tyler Conklin, but I'm going to go with that explosive Bills offense. I understand that Miami's defense is good. I just got done talking about it, but I think Dawson Knox has that way higher upside for you, so I'm going to go Dawson Knox. And then Tommy wants to know, Brady or Wentz? Tommy, is that you, Tom Brady? Are you asking if you should start yourself? Tisk, tisk. He wants to know Brady or Wentz in a revenge game. Again, I'm fading Wentz. I'm just not doing it. So I'm going to go Tom Brady. This is going to be an interesting game between the Buccaneers and the Green Bay Packers. I have a feeling that Tom Brady is going to be coming back with a vengeance after that crazy game against New Orleans. I understand, that he did win. However, it was not pretty doing so. So I think he wants to prove that he is still the GOAT. So Tom Brady for me. Brandon Bright, he wants to know, Akers, Allen Robinson, or Rashad Penny? Well, since we already decided we are going to fade Rashad Penny, I am going to go with the upside here with the wide receiver 1B in Allen Robinson. I'm going to start Allen Robinson there. I don't mind starting Cam Akers, but I like Allen Robinson a little bit better. Now, just real quick here, Brandon, you do have two players that are on the same team. Now, if it was Darrell Henderson and Allen Robinson, I don't know if I would mind as much because Henderson is that pure runner, line from scrimmage, bruising back that isn't going to be eating into Allen Robinson's targets nearly as much as Cam Akers is able to do so. So what I would like you to do is either try to get Allen Robinson or Cam Akers, get them out, trade them away for some good pieces. If I were you, I would trade away Allen Robinson. Keep Cam Akers because I think he's going to be very good, and it's very difficult to find good running backs in this league, and Cam Akers is only going to get better and better, knock on wood, unless he gets hurt. So make sure you deal one of those two so that you're not eating too much out of the same basket, too many eggs in one basket, eating out of the same pie. There's some metaphor in there that I just can't think of right now, mostly because I'm slightly brain fried. And we're going to do one more from our online questions. What are we going to do about Adam Thielen? This is also from Rachel. Rachel, first, cheers to you. This is what we're going to do. First and foremost. I mean, I would pour this out, but that'd be a waste. So let's just have a moment. We're going to breathe, chew on ice. And we're going to trade Adam Thielen as soon as he has a good game. This is looking disastrous. But again, this is Justin Jefferson. You got KJ Osborne. Irv Smith is becoming a thing. Dalvin Cook is still involved in the passing game. Time may be running out here for Adam Thielen being fantasy relevant. So what we're going to do with Adam Thielen is that when he has a good game, we are going to trade him away. You will likely have to bundle him with somebody else. That's okay because there's usually a lot of options you can do in a bundle to get a better piece. But if you just pray he has a good game so that you will be able to get out from underneath the amazingness that was Adam Thielen that may be no more moving forward. I know, very sad, especially if with Kirk Cousins. I understand that was just a Monday night fluke. But it was gross. Literally, he was targeting Darius Slay. There was no one else around except Darius Slay. Like, did he forget what team he was playing on? Come on, Cousins. You know what I think it was? I think it was his, I just mowed in a straight, perfect lines shirt that he wore in the press conferences the week before. That ruined his mojo. I think that's what it was. Always be aware of your fashion choices, my friends. Always be aware. Let me go ahead and get to our online live with me right now questions. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me live. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for being a part of this family. This is why I do this, is because I love you guys so much. Albert, thank you so much for joining. Emmanuel, as always, my friend, thank you for joining. And Albert, pick 2 full PPR Cooks, Kirk, or Bateman. This is a tough one. No matter what, I am going to go Christian Kirk. There's just no way I am going to get away from him. I love him so much. So your other 2 options here are going to be Rashad Bateman or it's going to be Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks is going to be one of those safety valve outlets for you that is just going to produce in PPR. He may not have that huge ceiling, but he's definitely going to have a safer floor. So if you want to go 2 upside guys, you can go Kirk and Bateman. If you want to go upside with Christian Kirk and then a little bit safer, you can go Brandon Cooks. Either way, I don't think you can go wrong here. Just make sure Christian Kirk is a part of that duo that you decide to start. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday, Joe. Thank you for joining. And let's see, Nihal. I love that name. That was fun to say. Pick 1. Half PPR Damian Harris. Ooh, CeeDee Lamb, Cam Akers, or Amari Cooper. Pick 1. Pick 1.5 PPR. Okay, in this situation, I don't mind starting Amari Cooper. Just remember, don't start him in your flex. Put him in your wide receiver spot. If that does not work with your other wide receivers, I completely understand. Then I would start CeeDee Lamb. I would go ahead and put CeeDee Lamb in here. His usage and his target share really hasn't changed that much with Cooper Rush, who's only going to start getting a little bit more comfortable as long as he stays upright. So if Amari Cooper works in your wide receiver spot, do that. And you know what? You can flex CeeDee Lamb, so do that. Try that outfit on. See how it feels. Remember, fashion looks really good. Amari Cooper or CeeDee. Those are my 2 options. Emmanuel, pick 1. CeeDee, lots of CeeDee Lamb questions. CeeDee Lamb or DK Metcalf in full PPR. My goodness, my friend. This is really tough. I think I'm going to lean DK Metcalf here. I'm going to lean DK Metcalf because I like the matchup a little bit better. And shockingly or not, I kind of like Geno Smith in this matchup too, although Emmanuel, you know this is my saying. Always go with your gut. And just as another public service announcement, fantasy football is super fun, but if I knew what was going to happen tomorrow, I would own Belize. That's just how it works. This is educating guessing, my friends. I do a lot of stat work. I do a lot of research. So I have this kind of knowledge while you guys, have your normal full-time jobs. I have the weird one where I'm just sitting here looking at numbers like, that's why my eyeballs are usually bleeding. But always go with your gut. Your gut is trying to tell you something. For me here, I'm going to lean DK Metcalf. Both of them are good options, though. To me, there is no wrong answer there. Go with the one that you would rather see in your starting lineup. And then Jeff Carpenter, show you the money. I really could. I will, honey. As soon as I win my prize picks, you'll get a portion of that, I promise. I'll buy you a drink, babe. It'll be on me. And then Joe, hello, thank you, Joe. Start Tyler Algier, Rashad Bateman, Garrett Wilson, yes, please. Sit Jeff Wilson Jr., Marquise Brown, Allen Robinson, or Zeke. Oh my goodness, no, my friend. Okay, let's do this. Oh, I would like you to start Marquise Brown, Allen Robinson, Zeke, and Garrett Wilson. If you can make that happen in your lineup, make it happen. I don't mind sitting. Well, actually, I don't. I prefer you would sit Algier for now. You can sit Rashad Bateman in this one. I think he's just going to be a high upside play there for the Ravens with more mouths to feed there, like Devin Duvernay and specifically Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson running. But Garrett Wilson is a must start for me. So I don't mind sitting Jeff Wilson. He's that safer play. It's going to be a really rough matchup for the 49ers. So Garrett Wilson, Marquise Brown, Allen Robinson, and Zeke are going to be the ones I choose out of those. What's up, people? Al S. I love Wind Up Wednesdays, too. This is always so much fun. It's so much fun hanging out with everybody. And I think that's it. We've gotten to your questions here, my friends. Thank you so much again for joining me live. And remember, if you have yet to sign up for PrizePicks, it is super easy to do. With the promo code FTN, you get your first deposit of up to $100 matched. That is free money. So you deposit $50, you get 100 total. You deposit 100, you get 200. It's really fun. Again, I just showed you how to do it. Easy over unders. Go for it. And if you really want to look at some cool stuff, check out the Edge tool that we have over on ftnfantasy.com. And with my promo code SML, you get 20% off any package. You can use the splits tool. You can do amazing projections. You can take a look at all Jeff Ratcliffe's stuff. You can do the Edge tool. It is so much information right at your fingertips. And we always have new stuff coming to you soon. Remember, head on over to FTN Daily for our free picks tracker tool and our free PrizePicks Discord channel. Just hit that little bubble at the top. Again, I've been your host today. Cheers, my friends. You can find me at Stepmom Lauren on social media. I also have a website, stepmomlauren.com, and this video is going to be literally emailed out to everybody so you can rewatch or you can watch for the first time. Remember, make sure you are following us here, FTN Fantasy. Follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel, my friends. Turn on those notifications so that you know every single time that we are on. One last cheers, everybody. Good luck in all of your matchups. Good luck in all of your prize picks. Let me know how it goes. Cheers, everybody. Here's to week 3.